evening. Well, yeah, that's okay. Not sure how to get rid of that now. No, I don't want to delete it. Just don't want it to be like, there you go. I spoiled it now because I wanted to show you that later. Anyway, never mind. Happy winter solstice to you all. Well, look, officially winter solstice was yesterday. But as you know, because I have told you all so many times, winter solstice is not really a one-day event. It's a 3-day event at least. The sun rises in exactly the same position for several days in a row. And this is something, of course, that is celebrated at Newgrange. We'll do plenty of talking about that this evening, as we are now 3 days out from Christmas. So the old pagan festival of this time of year, the rebirth of the sun, and specifically in the mythology of Newgrange, the replacement of the old sun god by a new hope, to use Star Wars terminology. A new sun is born. To the Christian festival, where a new sun is born. S-O-N. Anyway, let me preempt this evening's episode. First of all, by saying, if you're new, you're very welcome. This is Live Irish Myths, episode number 354. The Live Irish Myths series began on the 12th of March back in 2020, at the beginning of the COVID pandemic. And we've kept going. And we've built up quite a nice group of followers. And there's always new people dropping in. So if you are dropping in, please do feel free. Do feel free to say hello. And tell us about yourself in the comments. And we'll give you a nice warm welcome. And there'll be plenty of chat. That is whether you are watching on the Mythical Ireland Facebook page or indeed on the Mythical Ireland YouTube channel. So before we get round to chatting about winter solstice and Newgrange specifically, let us catch up with the chat and see who's saying what. Yay, you're here, says Amanda June Haggerty on YouTube. First to comment this evening. Yes, indeed. Well, a very good evening to you. Happy winter solstice. We're in the longest nights of the year. But of course, one of the reasons that the solstice is such a great celebration for me personally is it marks the lowest ebb of the sun and the end of the decreasing light and increasing darkness. And now it goes the opposite way, quite gradually at first, admittedly. But we know now that the shortest days are kind of behind. Actually, that's not strictly true either, is it? I think the days are... Yeah, anyway, we'll maybe talk about that. Amanda June, a very good evening to you. Hope you're in good form. And Scott Doherty is saying, greetings, everyone. Hello, Anne. You're very welcome to Live Irish Myths. As always, great pleasure to see you. Hello to Bill, if he's floating around there in the background. Auntie Joe is saying hello from Colorado, where it's dry and sunny. Brilliant stuff. Send a bit of it this way. We had a bit of a grey and drizzly morning at Newgrange this morning. But I'll tell you more about that in a few moments. Burr Whelan is saying, oh, and thank you, Joe. Joe's had a very busy week. Joe, you may know, is an administrator on the Mythical Ireland community on Facebook and does a brilliant job there, especially when I'm very, very busy. And so I want to say, Joe, thank you for all your hard work in 2025. It's much appreciated. And we all applaud you for your sterling effort. Burr Whelan is saying, hi, Anthony. Hi, too. I hope everyone enjoyed the solstice. Well, I certainly did. And I had some lovely interactions, which I'll perhaps tell you about. Nico and Stephen are saying, hello, Anthony and MythFlix family. Merry Christmas from our home to yours. Mouse, Sean Thornton, Romeo, Chuck, Maggie Lou. Hang on. Have you got a dog called Sean Thornton? You must explain that one. I love the names, by the way. Mouse is such a fabulous name. Romeo, Chuck, Maggie Lou. Send tailwags to Coda and Saskia and purrs from the cat posse. Blessings. Brilliant stuff. Yes, and no doubt we will have an appearance by Coda, of course, because he's just gotten used to it. He sees the camera and the lights and all the rest, and he goes, I want to be on Live Irish Myths. Mary Rouse is saying hello from Indiana. A very good afternoon to you, Mary. I hope you're having a great Monday. I hope you're all set for the Christmas, and we are getting there, shall we say. It's been a busy few days, but we're getting there. We're getting there. The bird is in the fridge, and the pig is in the fridge. The most important elements of the Christmas dinner are now refrigerating, waiting for the magic moment. Of course, I'm talking about the turkey and the ham. Lily Shambles is saying, cheers for confusing me last week, Anthony. I tuned into my regular Ulster Archaeological Society last week as normal, and there you were on the wrong channel. I was somewhat discombobulated, lol. Yes, indeed. So I postponed. I ended up not holding an episode last week because I was just too busy with everything. But on Monday, I travelled to Queen's University in Belfast, where I gave a lecture to the Ulster Archaeological Society in fabulous facilities. And it was live streamed. And it has almost had 1,000 views on YouTube. So I hope those of you who missed MythFlix last week were quite satisfied with the alternative. And I think you were from the comments I received. Rex Quinn Fortenberry is saying, greetings and happy solstice, all the mighty Tuatha. Warm and sticky here in the Louisiana swamp today. MythFlix, take me away. We will gladly do that, Rex. Take you away into other worlds of the Irish imagination. Tuesday Thompson is wishing us a happy Mythology Monday. Thank you, Tuesday, for many happy returns. Rocio Marianne Lopez says nights even wears comfy pajamas and a silly sweater while drinking punch. Mythical Ireland live reading, wears elegant clothes and drinks a glass of wine. No one is around to see me. Jokes aside, hello, Mr. Anthony Mighty too. It's so nice to see you again. I hope you had a great time last week. I did indeed. And speaking of silly sweaters, I got myself a Christmas jumper, which I'm proud to show you. And it says, "'Tis the cheese on to brie jolly." I just thought a cheesy Christmas jumper is perfectly suited to my humor tastes. So I hope you like it. Michael P. Trott is saying, Kia ora from New Zealand. To a good morning to you, Michael. Happy Tuesday. It's the 20th. You're a day closer to Christmas than we are. I hope you are all set and all ready for the festivities. Brendan Byrne says, a very happy Christmas, Anthony, and all the Tuatha. A special call out to the Denver Tuatha. Happy Christmas from Glendalough. Yes, indeed. What did we call them? Oh, no, they have a specific name, don't they? The Colorado, no, the Denver. Oh, what was it? Oh, could somebody fill us in? I can't remember. There's a group of the Tuatha who met in Colorado, and we had a nickname for them. It wasn't quite the Colorado Mafia or anything like that, but it was something funny. Goddess Boenya is saying, solstice greetings from a cool and wet Crete. Loving your chats and podcasts. Guramago to Anthony. Well, thank you. Oh, that has to be John Main. I love the handle, John. Brilliant stuff. And happy solstice and happy Christmas to you. Roberta Robbins is saying, happy winter solstice, Anthony. Thank you, Roberta. Many happy returns. I hope you've had a great year. And I hope the turning of the year, while giving us time to pause and reflect, also gives us time to kind of dream up what 2026 will be like. There's a lot of people I know will be dreaming for an improvement in the general affairs of the world and humanity and the environment and everything else. Desiree Riley says, happy solstice. Me and Amadeus are glad to be tuning in. We have missed the Tuatha. Yeah, as from what I can remember, the last couple of episodes, Desiree, you were driving and listening but not able to comment. But great. And as I say, I half expect Coda to make an appearance before too long. But hello, Amadeus, who's a good boy, huh? Yes, indeed. Helen Hirsch Chader is watching on YouTube, is saying, Merry Christmas and happy holiday, everyone. Yes, indeed, many happy returns, Helen. Great to see you, as always. Wow, Nico and Stephen, we're almost caught up. Number 301 and continue on. Wow, have you really binge-watched 301 episodes? Wow. That is more impressive than anybody saying, I watched all the seasons of Game of Thrones or Friends or The Simpsons. Oh, brilliant stuff. Oh my God, yes, 25k. Congrats, Anthony. What's 25k? I'm completely lost, Lily, but that's just me being stupid. It's probably relating to something that should be immediately obvious to me, but feather brain and all the rest, you know. Too many early mornings, you know. Chantal Rachel is saying, hello from Toronto, Canada here. Brilliant stuff. Bonsoir, mon ami, from the lush Boyne Valley. And thank you for saying hello. And hope you are in good form, Chantal. It's very nice to welcome you to Live Irish Myths. Hope you enjoy the episode. Brian, that's Brian McKay, is saying, Fascawa Atua, brilliant stuff, Brian. Irish Military Museum, that's Stephanie Ehlenberg, is saying, hello, everyone. Hello, Stephanie. Happy solstice to Brian and Stephanie as well. Hope that as the year turns, you are in good form. Roberta Robbins is saying, hello to Chantal, fellow Ontario member. There you go. We have a big pocket of following in Ontario, I can tell you. Siobhan Pemberton is saying, I watched the live feed for OPW and I hope to visit in March and visit family in Louth. Wow, you have family in my county. When I say it's my county, of course, I want you to understand I don't own it. And I'm not the governor. We don't have county governors. But yeah, brilliant stuff, Siobhan. Let me know if you're in the area. And yeah, we might be able to say hello. Siobhan Pemberton, again, wishing us happy solstice. Well, wishing me a happy solstice. Many happy returns to you. Daniel Downey Macatakney says, Anthony, happy solstice all the way from Cavan, from our new collie pup, Pawdy, and his cat friend, Princess Cuddle Cakes the Third. Have a lovely Christmas. Desiree, I'm going to get you. Desiree has been suggesting for ages and ages and ages that we should set up a Mythical Ireland furry friends or pets page on Facebook. I think we have to do that. I've just seen all these brilliant names, and Princess Cuddle Cakes the Third really takes the biscuit. I mean, you know, there's this cat, you know, do you have to genuflect? You know, do you have to bow before the cat, you know, and address them as Your Majesty, you know, I wonder. Speaking of which, I told you it was imminent, didn't I? Alan Hoskins says, hi, Anthony. Hi, everyone, from a chilly Ballina Killaloe, and hope all are well. Happy solstice to one and all. It's beginning to feel a lot like musical notes. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Thank you for your Christmas card, Alan, which arrived in this morning's post. And to all the lovely Tuatha, something I really love at this time of year is receiving your cards from different parts of the world. Let me have a look at my little collection here. Where are the Tuatha ones?
Oh, I have some. Yeah.
Oh, you have them down. My good lady wife is keeping them because she's going to decorate her desk with them, apparently. But thank you to anybody who took the trouble to send me a Christmas card. What a lovely thought. And to Mariana to say thank you for the lovely Christmas present. Absolutely fantastic. And to Mandy McCurl also for the lovely Christmas present. Oh, I hate that when you name names because you're always worried about leaving somebody out. Anyway, never mind that little side conversation there. Thank you, Alan. Happy Christmas to you. Happy solstice. Liam Smith says, good evening, Anthony and gang. Greenstad Gary Honna. Happy winter solstice. Yes, indeed. Liam, many happy returns. Hope you're in good form. So he's here anyway. He'll probably come for his appearance shortly. I went to the cairns on the Sugarloaf for the sunrise, and it was magical. A lot of people go there. Is that Great Sugarloaf? Overlooking Bray and Dublin. Are there cairns up there? I climbed to the top of that mountain with two of my kids a few years ago. Didn't know there were cairns up there, unless we're talking about a different mountain. Marilyn Whitney, hello, Tua and Anthony. Sorry I've been gone. Internet problems here on Inisheer. Well, in fairness, I suppose, isn't it a miracle, really, of modern technology that we can even have internet in islands in the Atlantic Ocean, you know? But inspirations keep coming to me here. I'm sure they do. And the very best of luck to you with all that. I hope your time there is, I was going to say productive. That sounds very capitalist, you know? I hope that it's very inspiring. Cool here, but beautiful sunny day after weeks of stormy seas. Yeah, it was mild today. We've had a few mild mornings at Solstice. Relatively mild, like not cold enough to have to wear gloves. Friday was beautiful. I'll show you, I think, if I can, I'll show you a picture. Friday was really beautiful. But Saturday, Sunday, and this morning we're fairly mild. Catherine Cleary says, greetings from San Diego, California. May everyone be enjoying this time of solstice and merriment all over the world. Many happy returns, Catherine. Happy solstice to you. Samantha Healy, hello. Anthony and all the Tua, hello, Samantha. Happy solstice. Kicking Horse 2405 says, happy Christmas. Hello. Hi. Are you coming up to say hello? I know you can't come this far now. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, don't tell me you're shy. Oh, okay. You're not getting a rub of. There you go. See, that wasn't difficult, was it? That wasn't difficult. Look, he's got this whole sort of regal look going on. Look, he's like, oh, yes, please give me a rub. Thank you. Yes. If you don't mind. Say, Coda, look, who's that? Look, who's that? No, not that way. This way, look. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Happy solstice. Say happy solstice in dog language. Coda, whisper. Bark. Speak. No, he won't now. He's too shy. Speak. No, he's like, excuse me, I do not perform on command. You know? You can't be nudging me while I'm trying to put up the comments. Yeah, good boy. Amadeus says hello, okay? And all the others. Cuddly something the third. Yeah. Brilliant. Now, good boy. Good boy. Now I'm seeing repeated comments. Who am I seeing? What's that about, Tuesday Thompson? It was a real challenge to write the retelling in exactly 101 words for the website, but they were pleased with my version of the myth. That's hardly Toynbee killing it, is it, in 101 words? You know? Nice and cheesy on the jumper, says Lily. Glad you approve. Leslie O'Neill says, happy winter solstice, everyone. I cycled from Bettystown up to the gathering at Newgrange yesterday. I'm so glad I did it. It was a lovely experience and the sun came out. Brilliant stuff. I was not at Newgrange yesterday. Shock horror. I think you had the right idea. Beat the queues and the bus queues and the traffic and everything else. But anyway, Barbara Murphy says, happy winter solstice. I'm in a very warm Tucson, Arizona, heading for 84 Fahrenheit, just under 28 Celsius. No way. That's about 20 F above normal. So that's, about 10 degrees. It's fun as I'm getting a lot done on my house, but I'm still having a fire at night while the house is cold. Fair enough. But yeah, warm. What is it here, actually? It is right here now. It's 7 degrees, so it's a bit cooler than it was today. Obviously, the sun has gone down. I did say hello, didn't I, to Kicking Horse? Yes. Anthony, yes. Sean Thornton is named for John Wayne's character in The Quiet Man. My favourite actress is Maureen O'Hara. My grandmother was born in County Cork in 1902 and was an extra in the film. Wow. What a boast. Thank you for telling us all that. The Colorado Six, the Tuatha de Denver. Yes, I knew there was a really sort of catchy name, the Tuatha de Denver. Yes, indeed. Great photo of Solstice sun balanced on O'Brien's castle. I'll post on the creative page. Brilliant stuff, Marilyn. Look forward to seeing that. Liam Smith says, Siobhan Pemberton, welcome to Gundelu. Excuse me, Falchico Gundelu. Ola Conrad, happy solstice from Denmark, spent in the woods with a big bonfire and drumming. Wow. I hope the drumming was rhythmic. Not like some of the stuff we hear around the place here. Random tapping and beating of drums. Anyway, I was fortunate enough to be at Newgrange this week, says Samantha. A wee bit misty, but the sun broke through the clouds. Oh, I'm sorry I missed you, Samantha. There you go. Kathy May Deo is in the house. Good day, Mr. Anthony and all the two. I hope all are well and ready for Christmas. Not quite, but getting there. Happy winter solstice and the merriest of Christmases to all. Thank you, Kathy May. Many happy returns. And Ulla watched the live stream from Newgrange yesterday, or the recording of the live stream. Beautiful, brilliant stuff. The dog is a giant schnauzer, huge and fiesta, more like herself in the film. Yeah. Roberta Robbins is looking forward to returning to Ireland in April. That'll fly around. Brilliant. I watched it live, but was fortunate enough to be there before for winter solstice years ago, says Samantha. Mark Gordon is in the house. Good day. Yes, most of the episodes. Mark, I hope you're in good form. Happy solstice. And happy Christmas to you, Samantha. Yes, indeed. Oh, right. Oh, somebody's talking about your 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. I didn't even realize it. Wow. Yes. Prescribers, says Ola. Yeah. I didn't even know that. So thank you for bringing that to my attention. That's worthy of celebration, I think. I don't know why, but YouTube, for some reason, it has just, yeah, it's a strange one. It's like yeah, I'm very active with YouTube, and there's lots of videos and live streams, but yet the channel hasn't really grown that much because the YouTube channel I began in 2008. It's been going for 17 years. Anyway, it is what it is. What can one do? Lynn White says, evening, Mr. Murphy, from another sea warrior. Warrior, not warrior, warrior. Thank you, as I didn't know what my surname meant. Lovely, educational. Yes, indeed. Sea warrior. Brilliant stuff, Lynn. Of course, Lynn White is Lynn Murphy. Always a pleasure to welcome more Murphys, and Barbara is there as well. Johnny Wilson says a big howdy from Dallas, Texas. 22 degrees and cloudy. Well, here, 22. That's 15 degrees warmer than it is here right now. Absolutely. Subscribers then, yeah. I thought when you said prescribers, I was like, are these people who subscribe first and then, then the channel happens? Oh, I'm bloody joking. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Hola. Peter Kennedy says hello and happy solstice from Ballybrigeen. Gunday Clea. Good evening to you, Peter. I hope you are in good form. Richard Burgess is saying hello, everyone from New York State. It's the Tuatha de Denver you're trying to remember, Anthony. Yes, indeed. Featherbrain. I forget important things and remember the most trivial details sometimes. Wow, congrats. That get him a silver medal or something, right? I don't think it gets you anything. I don't think. Anything. It doesn't get you anything except for a keep going and try and build it up to something better, something more. Matthew Doust, is it? Says, cheers from Northern Ontario. You see, I told you we had a big pocket of followers in Ontario. A very good afternoon to you, Matthew. Watching on YouTube, thanks for joining us. Don't think we've said hello to you before. So if this is your first time on the live, see, sometimes people comment for the first time, but they've actually been watching So I don't know. But Matthew, you're very welcome. Happy winter solstice and happy Christmas to you. Furry friends, lol, Anthony, you don't know the can that you're opening there. Hey, can open, worms everywhere, you know. Now, I don't think you get anything till 100,000. Even then, it's smaller than it used to be. Yeah, you have to be in the millions now to be anything, you know. At Apple 369 says, hello from Vancouver in Canada. Hello, at Apple 369 on YouTube. You're very welcome. A very good afternoon, early afternoon there. Not much past midday in the western part of Canada. Do feel free to tell us more about yourself. It's great to see you. You're very, very welcome. Susan Scott is saying, hello all. Been away for a bit, but happy to be back with you all this afternoon. Happy solstice and a Merry Christmas to all. Many happy returns, Susan. Always a pleasure to welcome you to the live stream. Adina Sparks says, happy solstice, Anthony, on the Tuatha. It's an unseasonably warm 65 Fahrenheit here in New Mexico. We need some winter weather to put the plants to sleep. We have flowers still blooming. Hope everyone has a blessed holiday season. Thank you, Adina. And yeah, you can donate some of those degrees over here if you want. Keeps muttering Lynn White for me. I'm going to YouTube. Yeah, the stream is generally steadier on YouTube. Samantha, sat on aircraft at the moment at Dublin watching Mythical Ireland. Lol. Now that is dedication. That is dedication. Don't tell me you're flying the plane, because if you're watching Mythical Ireland, that could be a problem. Brilliant. I don't wonder where you're going, but anyway, safe flight. And yeah, dedication is the name of the game. Daniel McGuinness is saying hello from Carson City. Is that Nevada? NV? Nevada, is it? Daniel, wow, good afternoon to you. Welcome to Live Irish Myths. Happy winter solstice to you. And greetings of the Christmas season. Josie Weatherford is saying, GAE, happy to be here with you tonight. Well, we're delighted to have your company. Josie, happy solstice to you and a Merry Christmas. Mariana Dunn says, Banachty, dear Tuatha and Anthony, are out running errands. Happy winter solstice all. And I hope you heard, but I said earlier, thank you very much for the beautiful Christmas present, Mariana. Much appreciated. Very kind. Rossio saying, some groups I'm in, they sometimes assign themed days of the week to post and share certain content. You could make that and choose a day of the week so members can share photos and videos of their furry companions. Maybe Thursday or Tuesday, call it Mythical Ireland Fur Day or something like that. Yeah, but hey, I'm open. I'm pretty sure Desiree is kind of like set on establishing a whole page, a whole separate group where people can share pictures and videos and stories about their pets. I think it's a great idea. Yeah. Thanks, Lily. Can't agree more with you. Whatever about me and Mythical Ireland, it is certainly true that, you know, there are some real junk channels out there that get a lot of traffic. Auntie Joe liked Coda's appearance, as did Kathy May, as did Rossio. So I'm obviously quite behind with the comments, so I'll try and catch up. Chris Haney Lang says, happy solstice. Happy winter solstice to you, Chris. Lovely to see you. Sha Coda, lol. Coda, what a distinguished gentleman of a canine, says that was Daniel Downey, sorry, Makatakni. Everyone needs to remember to put out milk and cookies for on Bodach. Well, yesterday, but Christmas works if that's when you celebrate, lol. Yes, indeed. I've noticed since Coda started showing up, the viewing figures have jumped up. Wow. Since he started jumping up on me, viewing figures have jumped up. We gotta keep him more involved, yeah. Yes, the great sugar loaf, says Brendan. The two cairns are not at the top, but halfway up. Ah, okay. Must look out for those next time. I didn't even know that. Catherine Hupp is saying hello all from Colorado. Happy winter solstice. Catherine, welcome to the stream. Michael Pike is here. Anthony Banachty August Natua Nullig Honna. A very good Greenstad Honna Michal. Yay, congratulations, Anthony Murphy. Thank you, Desiree. I'm just trying to... Joseph McGrail Bait Up is saying hello from the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Are you at home or somewhere else? Are you in the... Don't tell me you're in Hawaii. No, don't tell me you're in the South Cook Islands. No, Nauru, maybe. Joe, happy summer solstice to you, because you're down under. From all of us who are celebrating winter solstice. Great to see you, by the way. I'm on a cruise ship. Oh, wow. Very nice. Hey, if you can, absolutely do it, you know. Thank you, Nico and Stephen. Mouse's channel has just started and has 7 subscribers. We'll have to take a look. Possibly you're remembering the crucial items, and well, I do the same thing. I could blame age, but to be honest, you know, I've always been like that. Porigo Komisky says, lovely seeing you yesterday, Anthony, as always. Yes. A happy solstice to you, Porig. I hope you've had a great year, and best wishes for another good one coming. There's MI7OBW. That's Peter in Newry saying 599 from MI7OBW. Jigwich, how are you? Happy Christmas, happy solstice, Peter, and happy Christmas. Hope you're getting a break from the studies. Hope you're doing plenty of radio. Northern California has been enjoying moderate rain and scattered fog. Sounds very Irish, to be honest. Kimberly Ann Matsumoto says, cheers to the winter solstice from the other side of the pond, Ontario, Canada. I told you, there is a huge gathering of MythFlix too over there in Ontario. Kimberly, happy solstice to you and Merry Christmas. Greetings of this midwinter season. Amanda June says, Coda is keying in metadata for you while you're not looking, thus boosting your reach on YouTube. Good man, Coda. Well, we might have as many Ontario viewers now as we do Colorado viewers, says Desira. There's a bit of a competition on there now. Roberta Robbins is in the Owen Sound area. Elaine Dent Lingenfelter has finally joined us. Happy Christmas, Anthony, and all the tour from a lovely day in Whitney, Texas, 22 Celsius. 7 degrees here, Elaine. Great to see you. Happy solstice. Right. I'm not reading this week. We are now 38 minutes into the live stream. So it's a great delight. I met somebody at Newgrange this morning, a gentleman who didn't tell me what his name was. And he said, thank you for all the live streams. I said, you're very welcome. And he said, yeah, I really love the way, you know, everybody gets a greeting and a welcome, and, you know, and it's very interesting and educational and insightful, but at the same time, you know, it feels like a community. I said, oh, thanks a million. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, great. I've reached the lofty heights of 25,000 followers on YouTube. And I've noticed, yes, over the last few years in particular, since the pandemic sort of started to decline, I have noticed that when I'm out in public, especially when I'm at one of our many ancient sites, I quite regularly bump into people who know who I am and say, hello, Anthony, and there's a handshake, and oh, I love your website, or I've read some of your books, or I watch your live streams, or I've seen your videos, or I listen to your podcast, or I'm on Patreon, I'm one of your patrons, or etc., etc. So it's nice, it's lovely. Glenda Stark Serena says, hello, Anthony, and Merry Christmas. Glenda from Canada. What part of Canada, Glenda, as a matter of interest? There is a reason I ask this, because we have a huge pocket of viewers in Ontario right now. But anyway, a very good afternoon to you, Glenda. Thank you for joining us. Happy winter solstice to you, and Merry Christmas indeed. Still catching up on comments here. Paul Campbell, greetings from Galway City on the Atlantic west coast of Ireland. Hello, Paul. A happy winter solstice to you and Merry Christmas. John Inman is saying happy Christmas. I start on St. Nicholas, December the 6th. What's that about, John? Not quite understanding. Apologies. I'm not just quite with you on what that means, but anyway. Or I love your dad jokes. Yeah, the only one, Maureen, because everywhere else I tell them, I just get, oh, not this fella again. I hope you always carry a pen to sign those autographs. Actually, I do, but then being a writer and a journalist, it's a lifelong habit of carrying a pen, at least one. Don't forget your Pacific Northwestern viewers. Yes, exactly. Huge pocket in the Pacific Northwest. Washington and Oregon in particular. Yeah, my apologies. How could I possibly forget my PNW viewers? So I was going to talk about Solstice sort of generally and then more specifically. I think some of you might have been shocked to learn yesterday morning that I was not at Newgrange yesterday morning. I know, right? Very, very controversial. Now, I'm going to try and share just one or two photographs with you. I've uploaded a few of them already, and one of them sneakily appeared before it was supposed to. But anyway, so I'll do that. But actually, sorry, rather than uploading a photograph, I'll just share a Facebook post with you. So I went to Baltray Standing Stones for the 21st, for the official day of Solstice this year. Why did I go to Baltray and not to Newgrange? There's more than one reason for that. Can I share that Baltray post now? How do I do that? Yes, I can. Just give me one moment. So I'll share that as a link, as a comment, should I say. The link will be shared as a comment. So whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, it should appear. Hopefully. Yes. So what? Not at Newgrange for the solstice. I know, right? Don't encourage me with the dad jokes. Definitely not. And rabbit hole, says Marilyn. You're not being at Newgrange borders on what, Teehee? So I've shared a link there to some images that I took at Baltray. So in 1999, three of us, a man called Michael Byrne, a man called Richard Moore, and myself, discovered that the larger of the standing stones at Baltray is aligned, pointing to the Rockabill Islands out at sea, and that's where the sun rose in prehistory on the winter solstice. So I went out there instead. It was a lovely gathering. I don't know, was it 25, 30 people? And okay, there was cloud, blocked the moment of sunrise and that, but it was a nice morning and just nice and relaxed and laid back. So last year on the 21st, Newgrange at this on the days around solstice is open to the public. You just go there, you don't need a ticket, and you can just walk in the gate and, you know, go up to the monument and spend time there. Now, the solstice lottery winners are the ones who are in the chamber when the sun rises, providing it's not blocked by cloud, as it often is. So they are inside for the duration of the sunrise. When they come out, anyone else who wants to go into the chamber can go in after the sunrise event has finished. And I've tried over the years, I've been going to Newgrange for 26 years on the trot. It started with just going on the 21st, and then I realized, no, people were saying, but you can go on the 19th and the 20th and the 22nd and the 23rd, and there's fewer people around. So I started going, you know, years and years ago, I started going on more than one day. And in recent years, I've basically, for the past about 7, 8, 9, no, hang on, all the way back to 2016, I think, I've tried to go all 5 public days. On the 21st of December last year, Newgrange had its biggest crowd ever for the solstice. There were 2,500 people turned up at the monument for the sunrise. Despite getting to the visitor centre shortly after 7:30 in the morning, remember sunrise isn't until nearly 9 o'clock, the overflow car park was almost full. Myself, my wife, my daughter walked all the way down from there to the visitor centre, through the visitor centre, all the way over to where you get the shuttle bus, to find the longest queues for the shuttle buses I had ever seen, and waited for half an hour for a shuttle bus. No, it was great. Don't get me wrong, we enjoyed it, but we thought we'd leave Newgrange early then, sort of 9:20 to beat the crowd, but another big long queue for shuttle buses, another half an hour getting back. So this year I said, I'm very happy to go on the 19th and the 20th and the 22nd and the 23rd, but I just decided I might give the 21st a miss, even though it's the big event, on account of just, you can't drive close to the monument as you can do on the quieter days. The roads are closed, so you have to go to the visitor centre, you have to get a shuttle bus. Or you can walk, and some people do, and some people like Leslie cycled, but I just decided, no, I'm going to go to Baltray instead. And I was very pleasantly surprised to find that Baltray has become an annual pilgrimage for people. And as I say, lovely little group there, and very calm and peaceful, and yeah. So that's what I did. But I did go to Tuatha yesterday afternoon for the sunset. I was in the first group that got inside Tuatha. Tuatha is only opened once a year on the afternoon of the 21st of December. And the cloud had come over and blocked the sun. And my good friend Ken Williams was there, and he got in probably 2 groups after me, and the sun came out moment, only for a couple of minutes. And he got the most beautiful photographs, which you can see on his Shadows and Stone page on Facebook. Yeah, and that's where I met Pádraig Ó Cumasky, by the way. So yeah, I did. So I'm kind of half thinking I wouldn't go to Tuatha because the forecast wasn't great, but when I saw the sun was out and shining, I said, sure, I might as well. And you know what? Standing at the entrance of Tuatha, I was the first one there, by the way. There's a photo that I shared on the Mythical Ireland page on Facebook, a panorama showing the entrance to the chamber and the sun before it went in behind the clouds. And it was balmy. It was about 10 degrees Celsius. It was balmy. There was one lady there, and I said to her, it's a lovely day, isn't it? And she said, yes. She said, it's warm. It's not cold. And you'd almost think it was a summer day, not probably exaggerating that a little bit. But anyway, so yeah, we're kind of spoiled in Ireland in terms of monuments that you can go and have a look at solstice alignments. Just to mention some others, Knockrow in County Kilkenny has 2 passages. It's one tomb, well, it's the remains of a tomb. It was excavated by Maurice O'Sullivan, I think in the 90s. It has one passage that points towards winter solstice sunrise, and a second passage which points to winter solstice sunset. And as far as we know, from what has been excavated in Ireland, it's the only passage tomb on the entire island that has 2 passages. Well, it's not the only one that has 2, but it's the only one that has passages for both winter sunrise and winter sunset, which is fantastic. The Calivera's house on the summit of Slieve Gullion in Armagh points to winter solstice sunset, but I understand there's work has been going on there lately, and I saw some pictures and some text on social media saying the chamber is inaccessible at the moment. So just in case you're thinking about going up there, just check that information before you go. And then, of course, Tuatha for the winter sunset. Newgrange, famous not only because, you know, I suppose visitors can go there through the year, and it's kind of fairly heavily promoted in tourism literature and websites for Ireland, and all sorts of social media. But of course, now over the last number of years, there's the annual live stream, and that's been a great success because it gives people who are not in Ireland, in various parts of the world, an opportunity to see what happens at Newgrange, and as it were, to be virtually inside Newgrange for the winter solstice. Now, the only thing about the live stream is, I think one or 2 years, the first year they did it during the pandemic, was they did 3 mornings, didn't they? But now it's confined to the 21st. And of course, the difficulty with that is that aptly demonstrates that it's very hit and miss. Because there was a beautiful sunrise at Newgrange on Friday morning. Saturday, the sun rose and it was beautiful. But then a few minutes later, a bank of cloud covered it. So although it was bright outside, the people inside didn't see the sunbeam. Yesterday was similar with the big crowd at Newgrange. I'm told that the crowd at Newgrange yesterday was bigger than last year. So last year was 2,500. So I find it incredible. It's still growing. I don't know how they're going to manage that if it keeps growing. They're going to have to, dare I say it, they're going to have to come up with some restrictions. Because then it becomes a public safety issue. What was I saying? Yeah, no sunrise at Newgrange this morning. It was completely overcast, a very grey morning, and then it started drizzling. Don't know about tomorrow. The forecast is saying fog, but I'll go anyway. If it's foggy, I'll still be there, but I will go. I've got distracted there now, and I've forgotten something that I was going to say. But anyway, I'll come back to it because I see there's loads of more comments. Marilyn Whitney, that does sound very nice. I was alone at the 2 small standing stones on Knockrockney on Inisheer. It was lovely. Wow. I would have watched the sunrise at Stonehenge while laying in bed, courtesy of English Heritage, but there was low cloud, so no sunrise. Some great drone shots of a misty plains. Plains even, yes, indeed. Sally Siggins. Good evening, Anthony. Solstice greetings from Sligo, and a very Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Happy Solstice, Sally. Looking forward to seeing you over at Carrowmore in 2026. All going well. More than once, all going well. Love Sligo. What a fabulous, fabulous landscape. Yesterday, it seemed the sun started shining brightly a minute or two after the Newgrange chamber envelope time ended. That's exactly what happened, yeah. That's what happened on Saturday as well, on the 20th. The sun rose perfectly, and then it was blocked by cloud, and then eventually cleared the cloud, but only after as you say, that time frame for it getting into the chamber had ended. Amanda Morgan is saying hello from Townsville. Hello, Amanda. Welcome to Live Irish Myths and happy solstice. Orman Rick Casterton, is that Nick? Is it? Nick Eska Casterton. Hello, Anthony. Happy solstice. Hope all was well at Newgrange. It's been a very, very nice few days at Newgrange, I can tell you. I haven't seen any of the Castertons in a while. Hope you're all in great form, and it's lovely to see you popping in. Roberta says, I haven't gotten to Douth yet. I've been to Newgrange and Douth a few times, and Fornox with you. Fornox doesn't align on solstices or sunrise as far as we know. Well, it doesn't because it points too far north. But what a very, very special monument it is. Ivania Lee is saying good morning from Kiwi land. Happy greetings of the winter solstice season to you, but it's really summer solstice where you are, Ivania. Happy solstice to you, and indeed Merry Christmas. Does the Grange stone circle align with the winter solstice? I'm not quite sure, but I know that my good friend Ken Williams has written about that. He investigated that. Now, is that on his blog or his website? I think it is. Shadows on Stone. I would definitely chase that up on a Google search. I saw a lovely solstice sun on Balbrickan Beach towards Braymore Head yesterday morning. That sounds lovely, Peter. It's always nice to be at the coast, isn't it? To see the sunrise. Helena Breen says, evening, Anthony Murphy and all the Tuatha. Thanks for all that you do. Great live stream. Hello, Helena. Thank you. And happy solstice. And Merry Christmas. So let me just quickly share with you. You may have, did we get a sneaky preview of this earlier on? This was the sunrise on Saturday. So this is a photo that I took on Saturday, which was the 20th. And you can see there exactly what happened. The sun rose. I don't know if you can see my cursor. I'm hoping that you can. If you can, it would be great. But the sun rose. But this low bank of cloud, it was in the distance, this bank of cloud rolled in and basically covered the sun as it rose for the first 15 or 20 minutes or so, meaning that the people inside the chamber did not get to see the direct beam of sunlight on the chamber floor, unfortunately. So what can you do? You know, as they say, the OPW staff, the guides at Brunabonia, they all say, look, there's two lotteries. When you enter the winter solstice lottery, the first lottery is winning a ticket, winning a place in the chamber on one of the solstice days. The second lottery is the Irish weather, you know, which is, as we've previously said, and if you live here or you've been to Ireland, you'll know very well, hit and miss is a very good way of putting it. Capricious, liable to change, you know. A few days before the solstice, last week, on a foggy morning, I went to Newgrange farm and I put my drone in the air and captured some images of the great monument from the air. And I hope you'll like this one in particular, because this one is taken from behind Newgrange. Actually, let me just check the chat. Can you see? No, you can't see the cursor. Okay, right. You can see there the monument from the rear, facing the, well, that was probably taken about 9:30. So the sun is half an hour into the sky at that stage from its initial rising position. But look, the whole valley cloaked in fog and mist. It was very ethereal. And that wasn't, sorry, where am I? This one. No, yes. You probably saw this. Give me a moment here. I have to upload it. You probably saw this one, but it should come up momentarily. Yeah, I shared that on the social media. Oh yeah, that quickly become one of my favorite images of Newgrange. One of my own personal favorites. And the fog was just starting to burn off at that point. And it was just, I thought it was just a really beautiful scene. Let me just see what else I can share with you. Here are the pre-dawn. What is it? Is it crepuscular rays they call these? Hang on till I just upload this for a second. Should appear momentarily. The pre-dawn, just about 5 minutes or so before the sun rose. You could see the crepuscular rays. So here's something that's really fascinating about Newgrange, is that it's positioned in a way that this hill across this is on the southern side of the River Boyne. So the Boyne sits between Newgrange and this hill, which is called Red Mountain. And I wrote years and years ago in my book, Island of the Setting Sun, that I thought that Red Mountain could be so named because of the red dawn, the red sky that often appears on the mornings of the solstice viewed from Newgrange. But it's very clever because in the distance, the sun has already risen off the distant lower horizon. And what this does is it enables, by the time the sun appears over Red Mountain, it's already sort of, I think about 15 or 20 minutes off the distant horizon, which means that it's shining with sufficient light. And I'll show you, this is what, these photos taken on the same day, with sufficient light to cast a strong a strong beam of illumination into the chamber. Whereas if Newgrange was pointing at the sun at the moment it was rising on a far distant horizon, did you just take note of this? For the first 5 or 10 minutes after sunrise, you can safely look at the sun with your eyes. But as it rises higher, it becomes too strong to look at, and you can actually damage your eyes. So please never look directly at the sun. They say you should never look directly at the sun anyway. But when it is just immediately risen above the distant horizon, the scattering of the dust in the Earth's atmosphere causes it to be quite orangey and red. And it doesn't have the strength to make you want to deflect or avert your vision. So Newgrange is clever in that it's positioned in such a way as the distant horizon rising has already happened, and Red Mountain provides a second horizon, as it were. And as the sun rises over that, within a couple of minutes, it starts shining its glorious beam of light into the chamber. Now, let me just quickly catch up on the comments before I show another image. Thank you, Susan. Glad you liked it. Yeah, years of pre-planning, says Brian. Stakes as a sundial, and a lot of math can give up the alignment and time. Base 5 math, if my hunch is correct. Or just direct observations. And Sirius is important because it was rising in the same place as winter solstice sun back in the Neolithic. Thank you, Rex. So many options already for the next calendar. Correct and right, Lily. Yeah. Oh, yeah, just for the newcomers, quick mention of that. The Mythical Ireland 2026 calendar is available to buy on the website. If you're on the island of Ireland, you get free shipping. If you're elsewhere, you also have to pay for shipping. It's €15. Gosh, I remember when you had to use the projector to share photos back in the beginning days of MythFlix. And I was so indebted to a certain lady called Azira Riley. And I think maybe a few others for sending that. That was, brilliant, an amazing gesture. Let me show you. I'm going to try and show you an image. Now, this might take a minute, so bear with me as I search for an image that I have taken in previous years showing the light in the passage or chamber. So here's one that was taken, believe it or not, this is all the way back in 2010, the one and only time I was in the chamber of Newgrange for the winter solstice sunrise. And this is just after the direct beam of light has left. We're looking out from the junction of passage and chamber into the passage here, and you can see the light on the floor there. But as that is happening, you also see this. If you're further down the passage towards the entrance, this is what you see. And this is the wonderful piece of structural engineering that makes Newgrange unique. The so-called roof box, a special opening or aperture above the doorway. So we enter in through here and walk up the passageway. And I say up because it's slightly inclined. It rises by 2 meters as you walk from the entrance to the chamber. But you can see that the beam of light is split into two here. There's a broad beam of light that is shone onto the floor of the passage. There's a separate beam of light, a narrower one, that projects onto the stones. Now, this is about 20 minutes, maybe half an hour after the illumination of the chamber, when the sun is still visible in the passage. But I hope this aptly demonstrates this the function of the roof box, because it is this upper beam that reaches the chamber. This one doesn't. The one that the light that comes in the doorway only reaches about a third of the way up the passage. It does not reach the chamber. The roof box is the one that provides the light Let me just quickly show you another image. So this is taken from closer to the roof box, looking directly into the roof box at the sun. Again, you can see the sun in such a... I hope you can see the sun is now... I'd say that's at least half an hour. That might even have been a 10 a.m. shot. So, you know, an hour or 3/4 of an hour after the sun has been in the chamber of Newgrange. But just to show you what it looks like up close. One more, maybe. This is from inside the chamber floor. But just to be honest here, this is simulated. So if you go to Newgrange on the official tour any day of the year when Newgrange is open, they will turn off the lights and simulate what happens on winter solstice. And there's a light bulb in the passageway that provides the light for this. Look, you can see someone's shoe and leg there. I think that was taken, I'm not sure if that was taken with my camera or my phone, but whichever it was, I put them right down on the floor in the dust. And look, there's someone's shoe there as well on the left hand. Oh, I'm forgetting you can't see the cursor, but anyway, not to worry. Yeah. So that's Newgrange. Let me try and find an image from Tuatha, from the southern chamber of Tuatha, of the sun entering the chamber there. Let me just quickly find... Apologies about this. I could have uploaded these beforehand, but I didn't have time, to be honest. I've kind of just about made it to do the live stream. So here is what that looks like. Again, putting the camera down on the ground with the sun entering into the chamber there. Very different chamber and very different design to Newgrange. The passage of Tuatha is short. The chamber is a round chamber, and it's not nearly as deep. It's not as long as Newgrange. It's about maybe a third to a half of the total. Probably a third, maybe. Would it be? Yeah, about a third the length of the entire passage and chamber of Newgrange. So here is what it looks like in a wide-angle view. So this is taken with kind of a fisheye lens. I'm standing over the stone on the left, where you can see the sunbeam striking along the bottom of it. And you can see the other people gathered there with their phones and cameras taking pictures and, yeah, enjoying the event. And then at Baltray, so let me just share with you, hopefully I can find quickly a photo of winter solstice sunrise at Baltray. Yes, indeed. This is taken all the way back in 2007, which is already 8 years after the discovery. And there is where I was yesterday morning, although there was cloud covering much of this part of the sky. Unfortunately, we did not see a sunrise. Let me just quickly check. Do I have a picture showing the Rockabill Islands? So the large standing stone points towards Rockabill, and that's where the sun would be rising. No, you can't really see Rockabill in that picture, unfortunately. Anyway, not to worry. I hope you get the idea. Anyway, it seems that the solstice was only one of a number of celebrations. One of the targets of Neolithic monuments, because there are monuments that are aligned towards summer solstice. There are monuments, well, one in particular, Cairntee at Lough Crew, which is aligned towards the equinox sunrises. And then there's a lot of discussion and debate around what are called, what Martin Brennan referred to as the cross-quarter days, the halfway points between the equinoxes and the solstices, starting with Imbolc in February, Bealtaine, which falls in early May now, Lunasa in August, and Samhain in early November, which kind of coincides approximately with I was going to say Easter, with definitely not Easter, Anthony, with Halloween. But absolutely, there were people who were well acquainted with the sky, with the sun, with the moon, with the stars, and the movements of all those, and the patterns of all those, which is what we think a lot of it was all about. And it is curious because at Newgrange in particular, we have mythology which would suggest that the sun god, the Dagda, on Dag the Moor, was displaced out of Newgrange by his own son, Angus Og, the youthful son who was born, conceived and born in one day. And it's leaning into this idea and almost suggesting the idea that the solstice is viewed as the departure of the mature sun and the birth or rebirth, as it were, of a new sun. So as one retreats, the other enters. And the spiral symbolism of Newgrange could well play into all of that. And even the movement of the spirals. One which appears to wind down into the center, as if suggesting decaying sun as we come towards winter solstice, lower and lower. And then the other winding up from the center, as if saying, well, we've passed the solstice now and the sun is growing in strength from day to day. Valentina Bernardi is saying good evening from Glastonbury and blessed winter solstice. A very happy winter solstice to you, Valentina. Thank you for joining us. And indeed, Merry Christmas if you celebrate it. Yes, they didn't have, trying to get my head around how they could do this over 5,000 years ago. Primitive people, no, not primitive. Primitive only in terms of their access to technology or their lack of access to technology. But no, we have much in common with them. They were intelligent and curious. Yeah, and they could do it. It's not the difficulty, actually. I've said this before, but for me, aligning Newgrange on winter solstice sunrise isn't the greatest achievement of the builders. It's truthfully, it's not that difficult to do. As Brian said earlier, once you settle in a particular place, then you notice, let's just say you lived in prehistory and your horizon wasn't blocked by high-rise buildings and your sky wasn't blotted out at night by artificial lights. You'd come to notice after living there for a few years, oh, the sun rises there in midwinter and there in midsummer and there, oh yeah, and it sets there, and you know, and the moon in summer the full moon's really low, but in winter it's really high, and you know, and you see different shapes and patterns of stars at various times of the year. No, I think the greater achievement of Newgrange is actually the construction of such a giant monument with stones brought from so far away. I think that's the greater achievement. And I'm not trying to at all take away from the beauty and splendor and amazement of the solstice illumination of Newgrange, because it is spectacular and it is very, very impressive what they did, absolutely. But shifting all those stones, some of them weighing as many as 8 tons, I think is the largest stone at Newgrange, 8 tons, and bringing hundreds of thousands of water-rolled cobbles from the river to form the cairn, and carrying quartz somehow from Wicklow all the way to the Boyne Valley, and then the granite and grabo and granodiorite cobbles from Dundalk Bay. It's all hugely impressive. I was able to visit Newgrange May 2010 with my husband. It was amazing, and I've never stopped trying to learn more about it. That's Glenda Stark Serena. Thank you for telling us that, Glenda. The weather turned out to be beautiful. It was in the 30s. Wow. Nice. Even better again. Yeah, this is the thing. Other thing about Newgrange is one of the many beautiful facets of the monument is that people visit it, and it leaves a very, very long, usually lifelong impression on them, you know, and they're really, really captivated by it. There's the whole, I don't know what we would call it, the logical and the empirical and the scientific aspect of it, which is very impressive. But then there's a whole other spiritual, mystical, mysterious side to nature, to Newgrange, that we understand relatively poorly. Because, of course, as I'm always saying, those people did not write anything. They left megalithic art, but they did not use written language. And writing didn't come for another approximately 3,800 years after Newgrange. So we're left looking at myths and legends written down 800 to 1,000 years ago, and wondering if they're truly, truly ancient and if they can offer us an insight. And I think they can, but can I prove it? Of course, no. Stephanie says, it's fascinating how they played with horizons. The hill, the roof box, it sort of adds another horizon in a way, I think. Yeah, exactly. Oh, the roof box itself, yeah, another horizon, a third horizon, as it were. They were ingenious, Nico and Stephen. Yes, indeed, they were. The whole thing is impressive. We're very lucky too. And let's make sure to acknowledge the fact that we are very lucky that Newgrange survived into the 21st century. It could have been destroyed at the end of the 17th century in 1699 when the Scottish settler Charles Campbell came into the possession of Newgrange, the land at Newgrange, and started to build roads and build and a house and farm buildings, and told his labourers to use stone from Newgrange. We're lucky. It looks like he was stopped in his tracks by the Welsh antiquarian Edward Llwyd, and only for that, the wholesale dismantling of Newgrange might have happened, and we might not have it today. We're very, very, very fortunate. Yeah, there is a tiny bit of doubt about the Wicklow quartz idea, because sometime in the past 20 years, a geologist from, I think it's Trinity College, who's now deceased, had been given a sample of quartz from the Rockabill Islands. And he said, this is the same as the quartz at Newgrange. But because Rockabill is a roseate tern colony, it's a special area of conservation, and the only people who are allowed to go there are, I think, wildlife, is it National Parks and Wildlife Service? I'm not sure. Wildlife wardens, wildlife, I don't know, ornithologists, bird counters, I'm not sure. So nobody's allowed to go there. But it'd be interesting to see if perhaps the quartz came from Rockabill, because remember, we've got that alignment. Baltray is basically aligning towards Rockabill, overlooking the mouth of the Boyne, where the Boyne empties out into the Irish Sea. And that stone is basically saying, there you go, there's Rockabill, and there's Winter Solstice. It makes sense to me from multiple points of view that Rockabill might have been a source for the white quartz of Newgrange, Brian says, I suspect Laura, one who what? Pulls the moon. Laura and Ray, yeah, becomes on Gialach moon, Loch Gial, white duck, saving Bonba, his wife, when Kazer's ships crash in the convergence. Yeah, interesting idea. The moon has to factor into it all. Absolutely. I don't believe for a moment that any prehistoric society, and I'm specifically talking about the Neolithic monument builders of Ireland, I don't believe that they were entirely captivated by the sun, and that the moon and the planets and the stars didn't enter into their cosmological thinking. I had the chance, this is Valentina, to go to celebrate the solstice privately at Stonehenge last night. It was an amazing experience, and I kept looking at the trillions. Sorry, the trilitons. The trillions, yes, Anthony. Don't be stupid. The trilithons, and be totally in awe of how the skills of the builders. It's very impressive, and they are, of course, called megalithic monuments, meaning big stone. And some of the stones are, yeah, very big. Yes, the logistics of how they executed the building and coordination of the people and gathering of materials without writing is what blows my mind. And without effective means of communication today, we just have radios and phones, and we can coordinate large construction projects. It must have been much more difficult in Stone Age. And don't forget, of course, there was no effective transport network other than the river. No roads, no wheeled vehicles as far as we know. Danielle Gorham is saying, Merry Christmas from Melbourne, Australia. Thank you for the informative information. Always happy to catch a live stream when I can. Good morning to you, Danielle. Greetings of the winter solstice from us to you, where, of course, it's summer solstice, and indeed a Merry Christmas to you. Thanks for tuning in and indeed for commenting. Always people looking in the background. It's not actually a new bear. It's just one that has been around for a while, but just decided to pop into the view, and a bag of Christmas shopping there in the background. Just looked at our thermometer. It's 81 Fahrenheit in Denver. Wow. Really? It's 27 degrees Celsius. That's as hot as it ever gets in Ireland, really. Gets a bit hotter, but Professor Hutton, I presume you're talking about Ronald Hutton, says Stonehenge was built by Neolithic cowboys using carpentry techniques on stone. Yeah, what do you call that? There's a bit that sticks out from the top of the stone, then there's a socket in the other one. So there's a carpentry term for that. Somebody who's done carpentry will know it. I wouldn't have a clue. Yeah, well, some of us are nosy, lol. Yeah. You might remember a few times we did a tour of the Mythical Ireland Library. I think that was in the pandemic year. It was in 2020. One theory on quartz is it was used as prayer stones offerings, like buying a brick with the name of a loved one's name on it. Yeah, I like that idea. In the Dindshenachus, there is reference to a monument at Brunabonia called, I think it's the one that's called the Cairn of the Mata, or the Mound of the Mata. I have it. This is all in my book, Mythical Ireland, New Light on the Ancient Past. For anybody who's interested, and especially if you don't have it, highly recommend it as a great introduction to all the stuff we talk about on these episodes. Just share the link where you can get a signed copy if you want one. Can I find a copy immediately to hand? I should be able to. One moment, please. So, in the chapter, which is called apologies. Yeah. Which is called, drumroll please, Lech Ben, the stone on which the monster was killed. Yeah, I'm just trying to find the exact reference here because it's a curious one. It talks about the kings from roundabout coming and placing a stone on the monument to the Mata. Afterwards came, this is in the, I think this is the metrical Dindshenachus. Sorry, 1.8, footnote 21. Tell you now where it was. Footnote 21, Thompson. Oh yeah, well that's Chris Thompson's translation of the metrical Dindshenachus. Afterwards came, Coda's barking. Everyone knows this story. The kings from all the fertile lands around to view the vast Tuatha. Each, excuse me, I'm trying to read. No, you can't read at the same time. No. 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 I asked you to speak earlier when you were here and you wouldn't. And now you're giving it full on. Each marked the killing ground with a stone. Yeah. I find that one fascinating. And maybe, Brian, you're right. Maybe, just maybe. We can only speculate. I don't think we can know. But maybe that's what the cairn is about. That people are bringing stones. It's an act of commemoration for someone who's gone. And remember, at the end of the day, whether people accept it or not, archaeologists call them passage tombs, and lots of people, especially on social media and on YouTube and other places, argue that, saying they're not tombs, they're not tombs. Well, they are tombs, definitely. That's definitely one of their functions, because there are human bones found in most of them. You can't get away from that. But it is interesting, isn't it? The idea that they brought stones, perhaps as, you know, yeah, just like that, to commemorate someone who's gone, you know. But it's the monster, the Tuatha, that they're placing the stones on in the Dindshenachus. But I just wonder whether that, you know, applies to maybe the other monuments as well. And as Brendan points out, rubbing quartz together generates light. It's called, now I have to, sorry, Coda, I have to get the mouse. Triboluminescence. Triboluminescence is the cold light produced when certain materials emit flashes of light from mechanical stress, like rubbing, crushing, or breaking. From Greek triben and Latin lumen. Mechanical force separates positive and negative charges, creating a strong electric field that excites air molecules, causing them to glow as electrons recombine, similar to miniature lighting, often seen with sugar, quartz, or even peeling tape in the dark. Never saw that before. If the Druids could do this just before the sun entered the chamber, can you imagine the power they would seem to have at the fingertips? Just before we go on any big flights of fancy, Brendan, the light that is produced, I've seen it demonstrated by quartz in this triboluminescence effect, is dim. It's not sort of thing you'd see in daylight. It's kind of only effective in low light or in darkness, I think. You know. Tugal Brunja Durga has cairns as the mark of a destruction. What do you mean, the mark of a destruction? Brian, I'm not quite following. Give me more detail. The mark of a destruction. Shine like stars in the night sky upon the moon, generated and collects biomagnetic, maybe they're solar powered. Yeah, don't forget, it is fascinating that quartz is at the source of all radio transmitters, including your smartphone. In there is a crystal of quartz. Deirdre Sheridan is saying, Lex Erickson, there's so much hidden under the ground in Ireland. We're probably only scratching the surface. Yeah, and a certain live stream presenter has discovered a fair number of things that were hidden using his drone. Josie has to jump off now. I've been enjoying this journey into the alignments immensely. Merry Christmas to you and your family, and many happy returns to you and yours, Josie. I hope it is a great one and a peaceful one and a prosperous new year. Mind you, I'm hoping to live stream, again this day week. So we're talking about the solstice today. So next week's will probably be just a look back at 2025, I think, maybe something like that. Hello, Coda. Maggie Lou is barking back. Yeah, and I'm sure Amadeus is doing the head cocking, like as if to say, "Where's the dog? Where's the dog? Where's?" Yeah, maybe he's running out into the yard to see what dog is outside. Maybe the next time you want to talk, you should pretend to read a passage. Yeah, sorry. Maybe the next time you want Coda to talk. Yeah, he's a habit of he performs, but just not on cue. You know, he's like, no, I will do it in my own time. Thank you very much. Not, you know, putting me up in front of your viewers and expecting me just to do what you know, expecting me to bark on command. Yeah, now Coda wants to talk. Marilyn is saying mortis and tenon. Is it? Well, how do you mortis and tenon? Yes. A classic strong woodworking connection joining two pieces, typically at a right angle, by fitting a protruding tenon or tongue cut on one piece into a matching hole or mortise slot cut into the other. There you go. Thank you, Marilyn. Yes, indeed. Stonehenge's Lego technique, says Lexi. Brilliant. Yes, indeed. Are you sure Coda isn't a cat in disguise? I don't know. Maybe he thinks he is, you know. Maybe, just maybe. Just to say, there is a lot of activity on Patreon in the past while, but there's a growing following on there. I'm sharing a lot of stuff on Patreon that doesn't get shared on the social media. Some pictures, some video clips, the podcasts, articles, blog posts, news updates, etc., etc. But yeah, I think if you were sort of thinking about it, I would certainly say, look, don't get left out. You know, there's a lot of people have been signing up. If you're going to join Patreon, and the address for that is scrolling along the bottom throughout the live streams. The address is patreon.com/Mythical Ireland. If you're going to sign up, a lot of people sign up as a free patron, and that's great and brilliant. Patreon introduced that about a year and a half or 2 years ago. But you will not get anything that the social media followers aren't getting. Probably the best level to join at by far is the Bronze Age level and above, because you will have access to the podcasts in particular. The latest one, I know I mentioned it previously, but there are a lot of seasonal viewers on, as it were, and a lot of people, there's a few newcomers and a few people who are saying hello today, but who, you know, don't watch regularly, probably because they're working. What was I going to say? Yeah, sorry. So the links to the podcasts are here. I'll send them to you. The latest one asks the question, could anthrax explain the abandonment of Irish ring forts and the superstitions around them, the fairy fort superstitions? That is, was it an hour and a half, I think? An hour and 13 minutes. A great discussion with Patrick McCafferty, whose theory is very, very interesting, quite fascinating. Okay, so I'll just wait for, are there any questions? It's more specifically in relation to what we've been talking about this evening. So winter solstice, Newgrange, the alignments, etc., etc. And if you are in Ireland and you're planning to go to Newgrange for solstice, tomorrow is the last day of the public days at Newgrange, and thereafter, Newgrange will be closed. I can't remember the exact dates. It's closed 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, possibly the 28th. I'm not sure. It reopens around the 28th, 29th, and it's closed again on New Year's Day. So the staff there finally get a bit of a break after their busiest week of the year. So will you be doing more archaeology live streams like earlier in the week? Yeah, it's funny. I am happy to do those too, to talk about archaeology. It's called Live Irish Myths, but of course it ventures into the other areas that I've written about over the years and the other areas that are of major interest to Mythical Ireland. So yeah, absolutely, I can do that. Happy to do that. If your bins are the same as ours, it should be both sets tonight. Yeah, we have recycling bin and compost bin tonight, and the recycling bin is absolutely full, and we have an extra box of stuff here. Well, it's that time of year, I suppose. Lots of stuff arriving in cardboard boxes and all sorts of packaging. When do you usually start your tours up again, Anthony? In the springtime, but I mean, I have, believe it or not, I have a tour coming up. I have one booked in January, a private tour. It's just, you don't get a lot of them in the winter just because of the short day and the weather can be very hit and miss. It can be lovely, but then it can be bucketing down with rain and windy and all the rest, Thanks, Helena. And if you're tuning in and you weren't around for the last couple of weeks, don't forget that if you're like Helena looking for something archaeological, I did, as I say, gave a talk to the Ulster Archaeological Society last week that was called "What Lies Beneath the Hidden Archaeology of the Newgrange Landscape," and that's on YouTube. You can watch the thing back. The whole thing lasts an hour and 42 minutes, but there was a half an hour of questions and comments at the end, which was brilliant. Really, really enjoyed the feedback. So I'll share that as a link now in the comments. So if your appetite is whetted to find out, just to expand on the subject we've been talking about this evening, to look in the wider landscape around Newgrange at mostly what we call the hidden archaeology, the stuff that's not visible on the surface. But there are substantial subsurface monumental remnants at Brunabonia and specifically around Newgrange. Love the balance you give of myths, archaeology, and so much more. Always learn new things listening in. Brilliant. Well, that's a lovely compliment, Sally, given your own expertise. So thanks a million. And likewise, always enjoy your tours at Carrowmore. And as I say, hopefully sooner rather than later. I think I'm out in Sligo in the spring. I know I got a private tour booking a while back, so we'll likely see you hopefully, if not before then, Well worth watching, says Helena. The stuff that Anthony finds. Yeah, I've found a few things, a few bits and pieces, yeah. Big and small, It's in our DNA, says Siobhan. We are great builders. Yeah, I would agree with that. Anthony, great talk today, and the photos are amazing. No matter how many times one goes to Newgrange, it's always a wonderful experience. Couldn't agree more. And that's coming from someone who's been to Newgrange hundreds of times, an uncountable number of times. Be aware, you just mentioned the F word. Yeah, I know. I think I got away with it, I'm just trying to have a look to see if I missed anything. Scott Leigh Gibson. Hello, Scott. Happy solstice to you. Brendan Byrne is wondering how many rabbit holes align with the rising sun in midwinter. Must chat with you about all the new findings at Carrowmore that James Bonsall and AMS have been finding through geophys. Yes, please. I would love to hear more, Sally. Brilliant. Can't wait to hear about that, in fact. How about a tour 15th of May? Are you looking to hire me, Elaine? 15th of May. Let me check my calendar. Live on Live Irish Myths. Yeah, I think I'm free that day. So there you go. Lexi, I missed the F word. Now you'll have to watch the replay just to hear the F word. What makes you different is you have a different ethic in your approach. That's what we like. Open. Yeah. I view the past as a mystery. And it's the mysteriousness of it and the questions that make it fascinating. And I think if we had all the answers, it would cease to be interesting. And it feeds into a lot of questions about ourselves, really. I think a lot of people in modern times who are, very interested and fascinated by prehistory and gravitate towards these monuments. In a sense, they are on a journey of self-exploration as well. You're looking at what humans did thousands of years ago, and you can't but help, even if it's tacit, even if you don't consciously acknowledge it. You are all the time searching within yourself also. You're looking at what makes us different from the people who built those great monuments, but you're also looking for the commonality. You're also looking for what makes us alike. And this is the astronomer in me in particular was drawn to that early on. The notion that throughout history, throughout time, humans have looked up at night and during the day and gone, oh man, what are all those points of light? What is this? And that also feeds into a wider spiritual cosmological worldview in which they're asking the big questions. They're seeing the cycles of the seasons, the growing and waning of the sun, the waxing and waning of the moon, the appearance and disappearance of constellations through the year. And they're seeing the concomitant effects on the earth and the growth and the harvest and the barren winter. And it's like they're seeing in those natural cycles the cycle of human life that, well, in the Neolithic in particular, was very harsh. The lifespan wasn't very long, and it feeds into your mortality and then the bigger questions, inevitably the bigger question. And the biggest question of all, and I'm still, okay, my subjectivity will be on display here, but I still maintain that Newgrange and its sister monuments are the single greatest expression of the one question that has dominated the thoughts and religiosity of people since the dawn of time. And that is, what happens to us when we die? Is there anything after this? And there's a whole different world there. And I've written about it on and off in various books and in various blog posts and publications, but I'd love to just be more specific and maybe write a short book about it. But I think that ultimately that's what Newgrange is about. It's an attempt. If you look at some of the mythological and folk traditions, it's clear that these things aren't tombs in the medieval imagination, in the imagination of the bards, in the era when the stories were written down in the Middle Ages. They don't describe them as passage tombs. Now, yes, there are Shanachas na relic, the lore of the cemeteries, and they are described as relic. But that is only one aspect of them. And when you look at Newgrange and its myths in particular, you see a place that's described as a mansion, a palace, an abode, a living place, and vibrantly alive in terms of the Tuatha De Danann going in there and having celebrations and eating great food, and the Dagda having his pigs cooking, and one roasting on the spit and the other ready for the slaughter, for the eating, as it were. So that to me feeds into the notion that they might have been used as chambers where you went to be among the bones of your ancestors, but to commune with them and to attempt to make contact with them through means of being in the dark, being in a trance-like state, perhaps consuming mushrooms or something. And even then the wider notion of perhaps trying to not just communicate with the spirits of the ancestors, but with the deities themselves, yeah. Lexi says, what happens when we die? I just found my ancestors came from Meath. Yes, we return. Wow, wonder what part of Meath, Lexi. Newgrange, perhaps? Wouldn't that be mad? That's the symptoms of megalithomania you have there, Anthony, says Mark Marnell. Yeah, I can't disagree. Yeah, I think so. Some would call it a fascination, others would call it an affliction, but it's very enjoyable. And the truth of it is that we'll never have all the answers, and that's what makes it even more exciting, in my view. It's you're always on the verge of grasping something, and just as you're about to grasp it, it's diaphanous, it's mist-like, it's like fog, that lifts when the sun rises. Like you want to grab it and go, yes, I have my own ball of fog here, but then you find when you open your hands, it has disappeared. That's what Newgrange is like. It offers up to us not just a great mystery, but in fact a series of connected mysteries. And we love that. There's a great detective story there. And nobody has the answers. Nobody. The greatest of the archaeologists and the anthropologists, the greatest historians, the great scientists, and the eco... what is it? The paleoecologists and the those studying, what is it called? Is it archaeogenetics or archaeogenomics? They all feed into it, and they can answer some of the questions, but nobody knows. It's a broader mystery. There's a broader question there. Actually, it's not a single question, but I think it all connects with that question. I think it's a web of connectivity. And at the center of that web of questions is the ultimate question that an awful lot of people, not everybody, some people don't care or don't appear to care, which relates to our mortality and what happens beyond, Yeah. I think the medieval texts show us the remnants of a spirit world that our ancestors saw as forts or realms of certain deities. Yeah, but we see, what I wonder is, because the scholars would have us believe that those beliefs were superimposed on those monuments in the Middle Ages. But I'm more interested in, is some of that stuff, has it survived into the Middle Ages from the Neolithic? And I think the answer is yes. It is philosophical and discovery of consciousness. How this thinking will change with AI will be fascinating. I heard a discussion at UCLA recently, and it was deeply fascinating. It gave me a new perspective. Yeah. It's interesting, though, isn't it? The wonder of it all, Chris. Yeah. exactly. The wonder of it all. I've said it before. I think I said it in my Newgrange book. That's the reason Newgrange provokes such interest, because it's mysterious. What if the day comes when we answer all the questions, nobody will go to Newgrange anymore? By the way, you know, it's interesting. I was chatting with Ken Williams at Tuatha yesterday, and he reminded me something Martin Brennan had written, presumably in The Stones of Time, but perhaps in the Boyne Valley Vision, one of his books, that when he first visited Newgrange in the 1970s, on the day of solstice, there were only 13 people there, and one of them was a priest. So the solstice crowds are a new phenomenon. That's something that has grown into something big in my lifetime. But if you go back, especially before the excavations, before the excavations, all you had was a memory a folk memory among the locals that said, on a certain day of the year, they said summer solstice. Apparently, some of them said summer solstice. On a certain day of the year, the sun shines into the monument and lights up the triple spiral in the chamber. But that could not have been witnessed since the Bronze Age, or since the late Neolithic, actually. It was 2700 BC, yeah, late Neolithic. And yet, before the restoration of the monument, when it couldn't be seen, people were saying it happened. Amazing stuff, really extraordinary. Anyway, so yeah, as I say, I am hoping to go to Newgrange again tomorrow in the morning, early in the morning, for the last of the 2025 public solstice days. So if you're going, I'll see you there, right? And if not, well, I'll try and get some nice pictures and share them maybe afterwards. Just to say, on Patreon, some of the stuff that, if you're a Bronze Age patron, that you would be enjoying right now, I did share a video I made on Saturday of going to Newgrange, you know, walking to get the bus, going on the shuttle bus, arriving at the monument, showing the crowds, showing the lottery winners going in, showing the moment of sunrise and the celebrations, and then, you know, going back and getting the bus and returning to the centre and having a full Irish breakfast. I think that's one that some of you will find interesting. So that's an exclusive Patreon video that I shared 2 days ago, but it's still there. And remember, when you sign up, whether it's at the Stone Age level, the Bronze Age level, or higher, when you sign up now, you have access to all the stuff that's been shared at that level since the beginning. And by the way, the beginning, so if you join as a Bronze Age patron now, you will have access to all of the posts that were shared for that level, all the way back to 2017. July 2017 is when Mythical Ireland appeared on Patreon. So I think you'll find it worth your while. As I say, the address is scrolling along the bottom. Anyway, I need to go because, Lily, I need to put the bins out. Yeah, I need to think about going to bed at some stage as well, because I'm getting up early these days, and kind of catches up on you, especially when you start to stretch out a little bit in terms of the age, you know. Anyway, can I just close by saying, again, a wonderful solstice season to you all. I like to think of the winter solstice as a nice time to plant a seed, as the salmon spawn in the upper reaches of the river and Boyne and its tributaries and lakes. Plant a seed and think about new beginnings, and think about new hopes, and think about bringing light into the darkness and bringing light out into the world. I think it needs it, and I think you'll agree with that. Anyway, to all of you, I'm planning to do a live stream next Monday, which will be the last live stream of 2025. But of course, this is the last one before Christmas. So can I take this opportunity to once again wish you all the joys of the solstice season, and indeed, if you celebrate it, a very happy Christmas. And I would say a happy new year, but as I said, I'm hoping to live stream between now and then. Have a good one. I hope that wherever you are, you have a warm, dry home, light and heat and food and drink, a nice family, good friends, and a good community around you. Because you know what? Ultimately, that's what we've been doing for thousands, if not tens of thousands of years. We've been working together as community to try and make life easier for ourselves and everyone around us. And so, yeah, let's look into 2026 with that kind of light in mind. We've had a few bright mornings at Newgrange, which is, for me, very hopeful. There was one year when the sun never shone into the chamber at all for days and days and days, and it just seemed very dark and endlessly dank and dull, you know. I didn't know Mavanway was there. Great talk, Anthony, and beautiful pictures. Have a wonderful Christmas all, and enjoy the week wherever you are and whatever you're doing. I don't know how to pronounce that. Nadolig Hlahwan from Wales. Thank you, Mavanway. Also, Rossio is saying thank you very much, Anthony, for everything. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Almighty Tuatha. I'm sending you, everyone, a big and warm hug. You are one of the best people out there. Thank you, Rossio, and many, many happy returns. And indeed, to all. Yeah. 25,000. That's nice. Onwards and upwards. 50 next, 50,000 next, and then 100,000, and then 1,000,000. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Anyway, good evening from the Boyne Valley. And yeah, well, stay posted. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to go to the Facebook page and the Mythical Ireland community on Facebook. And also, if you're on the website, mythicalireland.com, don't forget to subscribe to the free email newsletter to keep up to speed with everything that's happening. All right, better go. Have a great one. I hopefully see some of you at Newgrange in the morning. You never know. Good G. Vime egg dul good G. Sheed in Broga tomorrow in the morning. Congrats on 25. Thank you indeed. In the meantime, all that remains for me to say is Ichoa Kolosov, Slán go fóill agus tó go bogé.